Yeah, I understand.
You're on.
We're in the studio.
You're on.
You know, sometimes somebody peeks in on you and you're in a moment, a private moment, a moment of reverie, a moment of preparation, a moment of unreadiness. Sometimes you're in that moment where you just don't feel like talking. And then suddenly somebody says to you, "You're on," or "You should be on." And you know, when you're in those moments, sometimes you just want to stay with where you are. And that's sometimes what happens when you get ready to talk to somebody. Now, I want to welcome you tonight to Talk TV. And the first thing I want to say is that nobody on this talk show, nobody whatsoever, has to talk, including myself. Now, my name is Daena Giardella. And as you can see, I was not necessarily in that moment that you tuned in on me thinking about talking. What I was really thinking about is one of my first guests tonight. I have many guests booked on the show tonight. And the first guest I have is Annie Lennox. And I was just in a moment of reverie. I'd like you to meet, by the way, my wonderful orchestra. We have our own Talk TV orchestra here tonight. And they're condensed into this. This is a 21st century combination sound player as well as depth charger. It kind of doubles for something you might find on a submarine, but it also gives you a sense of, well, you know, music from the moment. And you see, I'm one of these people that I haven't totally developed my sense of trust for relying on other people, let's say. So I decided that I'll control my own music, which is the first thing in a talk show that most people don't do. They hand it over to who? Let's just take a few common examples. David Letterman's show. He gives it over to Paul Schaefer, right? And down and on and on and on. We had Doc Severinsen, right? He had the music for a while with Johnny Carson. So the first thing I want to say is this, that we tonight are going to have all kinds of exciting guests. Let's just listen for a moment to our first guest before she gets here. Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. She hits it on the head, and that's why Annie is on the show tonight, because Annie has a way of speaking about truth in her songs, in her music, and we hope, in fact, I hope that you, the audience, will feel very comfortable in stepping into this kind of experience of meeting people who you see sometimes in the pages of talk sheets. I mean, really, what are these things? These Star and National Enquirer, People Magazine, Newsweek. What is this stuff? This is the fodder. This is the stuff we use to generate conversations. And sometimes, I want to mention this to you because you are somebody that I know really understands the idea of talk. And you know how I know that? Because you chose to sit there. People who sit here, they've done studies, we have a lot of market research. People who tend to sit in this part of the audience tend to be people who read these kinds of magazines. Now, we have no concern about whether or not you're from a Republican or a Democratic background. What we care about is whether you know the material in these kinds of magazines, so that if I bring it up, you'll know what I'm talking about, you see, and that's what we care about. Now, you, on the other hand, and you tend to be people who do not read this. So when I address you, and I'll tell you something, this is a secret on most talk shows. When I address you, see, Annie is going to need to get warmed up now because she's going to come out and start talking in a minute, so I'm going to let her go. When we talk to you, I will tend to not deal with popular culture. I'll tend to deal with immediacy, things that are happening in the moment. Like if I was David Letterman, I might make a relationship to this pencil and look at you and know that you don't read these talk sheets, which is what I like to call them. It's an industry term. It's a talk rag. It's when you're on the rag, you're getting ready to talk. Once a month, people kind of get on the rag. They read these, they buy one, they throw it out. But I would know you don't read this, you do read this. And sometimes, you can't keep up with the changes between this and that. And I don't think that's anybody's fault. You know what it is? It's a hyper-saturated media culture. And this right here, this is a historic thing. This is the first talk show that will, first of all, zero in on minutia. I mean, we will give you pencil detail that you've never had before, but it's also a talk show where we'll let you in on the process. And I didn't forget that what we're talking about is that you do not read talk rags. So I will relate to you. I will get you connected to the kinesthetic experience of this moment. Me with the pencil, I'll build the moment. I might even hit the table. Oftentimes you'll see Dave Letterman. He'll just hit that table. He does it a little bit more after the heart surgery. I've noticed this. He'll hit that, he'll make a point, and then all of a sudden, what does he do? Out the window. I mean, now if that's not a talk TV, talk show moment, I don't know what else is. I mean, I basically don't know. I've done the moment now. You've seen talk show, you've seen talk TV, you've seen what it is to have a host let you in on the process, but what have we not seen? And again, I want to remind you that my name is Daena Giardella. Because listen, to have your own talk show, you have to have a certain amount of ego. And I, Daena Giardella, am not immune from this. I don't have any immunity to this. I don't have a special kind of Dalai Lama sense of realization that I, Daena Giardella, and that's the other thing. When you mispronounce your own name, that's when you know that you are hyper-focused on yourself. And it's yourself stumbling you up. And at that moment, this is a part of the process that you're not going to necessarily know about. It's when you have what we call in the industry an outtake. Now, an outtake is when we have something happening and we dare to let that part of us come out, but we know it will never end up in the goddamn show. Now, you're not supposed to say certain things on TV, okay? The main thing you're not supposed to say is, I made a mistake, okay? I just mispronounced my name. And there's a part of me right now that would like to just sit here and say, that's it, can this show start from the beginning? I don't care if it's live TV. I don't care. This is live. But in a few weeks, it won't be live. And you don't know. See, the thing is, you never know if it's live. Right now, I am living with my own mistake that I just made. Now listen, I'm going to tell you something. There's lots of things you can make a mistake about. But to make a mistake about your own name, Daena Giardella, how hard is it to say that? I'll tell you how hard it is. It's very hard. It's very hard to book a star like Julia Roberts. But we did that. We did that because, first of all, I have a fantastic production crew. And this crew is so amazing. I mean, this crew knows so well who I want on the show that I don't even have to talk about it. We don't have production meetings. Let me just give you a sense of who's on the show tonight, because I know at some point at the beginning of any talk show, you announce your guests. I just want to say we have a really great show lined up tonight. We have a show to end all shows, and I know you're going to love this show. We've got some great people here. Let me just let you know who they are. We've got tonight on this show, we have Julia Roberts. We have Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas will be joining us, and we also have Catherine Zeta-Jones. We will have his fiancée, soon-to-be wife. We have them all. The baby that they conceived will be here tonight on this show, in her belly. She's coming, the baby's coming, they're all coming. We have the sperm, we have the extra sperm, the extra semen that was used on the night that the baby was conceived, but which didn't necessarily make it into a full human being. What can I say? A creation with the egg. I mean, a lot happens. Now, that's the thing. On talk shows all around the country, you have to get in within the first 5 or 10 minutes. Sex, body fluids, different ways and positions that people can have relationships. Now, right about here is when an outtake would happen in the mind of any talk show host. And this is where you start running through in your mind, how far can I go? Will the censors catch up with me? Will the censors get on my case if I say the kind of list that I'm thinking about, which is the full extent of body fluids? Like right now, I'm thinking about semen. I'm thinking about menstrual blood. I'm thinking about saliva, spit. I'm thinking of that special something that comes out of the breast right around the time a woman is nursing. Now, these are fluids, but you see, in the outtake, there's a part of me that wants to say, you can't say that on TV, because if you say that on TV, you are taking that which is sacred and you are making it one more Jerry Springer riff, you know? You know, what kind of a person walks around with a card that has his name written on it, you know? Like I should have a card here that has my name written on it. You know, it's kind of like I sit there and like I'm going to plug right now Annie Lennox, but while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you to pretend that this is actually my name, just like Jerry Springer has, in order to what? Remind you that the focus of this show, okay? And this is my outtake to myself. Remember this. The focus of this show, no matter who sits in that chair, is me. Okay? So Annie can come. Let's have her come. She'll come eventually. She can sit right there. But the focus of this show, and I know, you know, she slouches, so it's not always easy to see her. But my job as the talk show host, I want to just say this right now to all of you in TV land. All of you in TV land is this. For me to keep the focus on me. Because you know what? If the focus isn't on me, there is absolutely nothing that I can say that will pull the focus back to me without me looking like I want to grab the focus. So if I'm a successful talk show host, I will make sure in the great tradition of Howard Stern and Don Imus, because these are part of the grandfathers and forefathers of this field, right? That the focus is always on me. So no matter who calls up, and you know the other thing I'm supposed to do, and this is where I have to have an outtake again, I hate the idea of having jokes at other people's expense, okay? I mean, this is what you might call the most repulsive, reprehensible thing that I can imagine. You know, you sit there and you imagine to yourself, you just think, you know, people go through life, you see. People have all kinds of feelings, they have all kinds of needs, they have all kinds of fears. People are ashamed of a lot of things, you know. And here you are, you're holding the fragile, sensitive heart of somebody in your hand when you're a talk show host. It's something between being a priest and a waitress. You know, you want to get their order, you want to get what it is that they want to say because they usually have something on their mind. They have an order of what they want to get that night. But then you're also the priest. You want to get their confession. You're going to be there when they make a mistake. Maybe when they say their name wrong. Maybe when something comes out of their mouth that they didn't mean to say. And you see, if you're in the tradition of the current talk show host that exists everywhere, radio, TV, you're looking and scanning for their flaws. And the thing about flaws and people having flaws is that flaws are so painful, mostly to the person who's having the flaw at the moment. And if the person having the flaw has that feeling that it's being zeroed in on, they feel kind of like a bird on a wire. And they feel a little bit like they're trying to walk a tightrope. And they've tried very hard. Oh, they've tried to be free. And they've stood for their truth. But you're there to make them feel like a worm. And then something from over here comes in, right? And you know what it is? It is the director or the producer that's telling you, don't skip over that flaw. They're giving the hand signal, or maybe they've even written a cue card that says, go back there. Because you know what? Flaws are good. Flaws are the spice of unkindness. You know, I was thinking that every talk show host in America might want to give a confession at some point. Might want to just say, if I've ever been unkind, if I've ever, made you feel that I was untrue, that I really would like to say, I'm sorry. I hope you know. It wasn't you. It was me. And I'll tell you why it was me. It was me because my training in this industry is to grow a skin that is thicker than any rhinoceros. You know that? I'm telling that to my director now. Thicker than any rhinoceros, so that anything that comes into me, I don't feel until 2 or 3 weeks later. And if I drink, I may not feel it at all. Now, my first guest tonight is coming out very shortly. And you know, we don't usually have a host that speaks in that way about the current moment, the way I'm doing. But one of the reasons I decided to do it is that it's kind of the prerogative of the host to say whatever they want. Like the other day, I was listening to a talk show, I'm not going to name any names, and they spent the whole half-hour segment talking about people that are overweight, and especially the people who decide to staple their stomachs so that they can't eat. And then a series of overweight people, or as they called it on this show, fat people, called up. And one by one, each person was mocked and ridiculed, and in the midst of making them feel like they had compassion, which of course wasn't true at all. And I was thinking to myself, you know, now there's a case of the complete downfall of American civilization. And we have it captured. It's right there. It's in the can, and anybody that wants to go and listen to it can go listen to it. And I think that's why people say nowadays, talk is cheap, because it is. It's very cheap, especially tonight, because we're on cable TV, and so talk is very cheap tonight. But most of the time, we think about these things and they go right through us. The skin, the rhinoceros skin, doesn't let it penetrate. We try to be free. We try to have feelings about it. We try to have maybe even a little outrage. You know, maybe we call into that show. And by the way, if you call 628-9876, that's 628-9876 tonight here, you can be part of this talk show. You can be part of Daena Giardella Talk TV, because we have a live telephone ready to take your live experience. Now, my first guest, as I said, is Annie Lennox, and we're going to ask Annie a lot about how it is to be herself in this media-driven age of multiple images. And I'm going to give right now the camera a chance to get me in a shot talking to Annie, because there will be a lot of time for Annie to come and fill that seat. But on this show, you see, we don't really care if she ever shows up, because the focus is on me, because I'm really not interested in whether Annie or Julia or Whitney. Oh, Whitney's coming. Whitney's coming. And we're also going to have several of Whitney's closest friends here to completely refute the rumor that she is going down the hill because of drugs, okay? We're going to have 4 or 5 friends. They're here. Whitney will be here. There is a crying segment. I want you to know that we've had plenty of time for crying.
Phone call at 9:03.
You see, what I've noticed about people in this world is that the minute you let them know that they can be included in something, they rush to be included. Everyone wants to be on TV. I'm delighted. Let me just get this here. Line 3. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I had a question for you about Annie Lennox. I'm really looking forward to seeing her. I can't wait till she gets there.
Mm-hmm. Does that mean that you're not looking forward to seeing me and that you're not having a good time with me so far? I'm just checking it out.
Oh no, I really like your vest.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know, thank you for bringing that up, because I thought a long time about what to wear tonight, and I'm glad you've noticed the vest. Annie, by the way, is not wearing a vest.
Oh, and I was going to ask you that question. Like, you know, what is she wearing, and did you have dinner with her? What did she eat?
I had dinner with Annie, and she was wearing something. It was very nondescript, actually. It was kind of something black with something black with something. I think it might have been black. It was
Yeah. She's so pretty.
Yeah, she's very pretty. And over dinner, we talked a lot. We talked a lot about how serious it is when a talk show host hits their own microphone, for example.
Oh.
Now, that's a problem that happens. You see, and when that happens, you want to go immediately to your outtake. And you just, if you don't mind, can you stay there while I have an outtake?
Oh, sure.
Because,
sure.
by the way, this show is about me. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Oh, No, I really liked, and I liked that part when you talked about mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes.
Great. Well, I have to deal with my mistake. If you can just hold for a minute. I just hit my own microphone. You see, now, a lot of me is obsessing now about whether or not my own microphone hitting has caused me to sound unprofessional. You see, you don't want to sound unprofessional if you have your own talk TV show. You want to make sure that everything seems seamless and everything seems very, very intended. So that's what I'm going to work out right here. What do you think? Should I build it in and say that I intended to touch my own microphone? I've seen Dennis Miller do this. He's got a talk show. He's hitting that thing. He's scratching his balls. He's going all around. He's always hitting it, especially when his jokes are working. I notice that he'll start doing that. So basically, I'm going to feel okay about that. I've done my little outtake. By the way, do you like the effect we have here of me looking at me, and then me within me, and there's a lot of me's within me's within me's, and I hope that you out there really like that. Ma'am, are you still there?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the show so far?
Oh, well, I'm real excited that Annie Lennox is going to be there.
Yep, she'll be here. In fact, she's in the green room now.
Is she really?
She's in the green room, and let me tell you a little bit about Annie. She told me a wonderful anecdote last night. She was talking to me last night about the 3 most important memories in her life. And one of them was a time when she was walking in Central Park, and she looked over her shoulder, and there were a crowd of people there clamoring to get an autograph. But one of them was a small child. And the child went up to her and said, you know, I don't know how to write yet. And I wonder what will happen to me if I get famous and I can't give autographs. And you know what Annie said?
What?
She said, ask Daena Giardella. I thought that was so touching.
Wow,
I mean,
that's great.
Yeah, and because she knew that I, you know, like to really work with people's feelings, and I like to be a sensitive talk show host. In fact, that child will be on the show tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that child, her name is, let me just get it here, Cynthia Cobble.
Oh, my.
Yes, Cynthia Cobble is going to be here. She actually had a hyphenated name, but they dropped it because it was causing her a lot of trouble at school. It used to be Cynthia Cobblestone, and that's no joke. But what she felt is that it was just too many kids were making fun of it, Cobblestone, Cobblestone, so they dropped it. But her father, I know her father very well, actually, from talking to him a few times, and his name actually is Mike Stone. And he's a very good producer, by coincidence. And anyway, did you want to know anything else about Annie?
Oh, about Annie?
Yeah, since you keep obsessing about Annie, I thought I'd give you one or two more questions on Annie.
Well, yeah, when's she going to be there?
Well, actually, she's coming in right now. So if you'd like us to get to Annie, we'll get there right now.
Okay.
And I want to thank you for your call. By the way, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Somerville.
You're from Somerville?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Which part of Somerville?
Oh, West Somerville by Powder House Square.
Powder House Square.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been there a million times.
Right, yeah.
I like the Rotary.
The Rotary.
Yeah, I like the Tufts track where you can go walking.
Oh, that's always great.
Kind of nice.
Yeah.
College Ave is nice.
Yeah, that's great too.
Yeah, I like walking there, especially when it's very busy. Do you like that?
Oh, well, it's a challenge.
It's a good place to get hit by a car.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I like that. Well, listen, and what's your name?
My name is Susan.
Susan. Well, Susan, I want to thank you for calling.
Yeah.
And we have a CD for you.
Oh, really?
We're sure you have all of Annie's CDs since you seem to know so much about her and care so much about her. So we're not going to give you an Annie Lennox CD.
Oh.
I'm going to give you a CD that I made in the 12th grade. I put together a whole sound tableau, a kind of a collage of some of my favorite music. And we're going to send that off to you, Susan, okay?
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, take care
Bye.
now. That's great. Now we're going to bring out Annie Lennox, and we're going to talk with her right now. Here she comes. Oh, she's not going to come. I see. She needs theme song to enter by. Well, you know, I think that's really smart. You see, that is the test of a real, true star. Now, one thing that's interesting sometimes on live TV, and I'm going to let the audience in on something here. Sometimes the lights are so bright, and most talk show hosts will not tell you this, that the talk show host, take Regis Philbin, for example, on that Millionaire show. Sometimes he himself doesn't know which camera is on because you can't see the red because it's so bright. Like for me, right now, for example, I have no idea which camera is picking me up. And sometimes the camera person will put their hand up and they'll let me know where I'm being picked up because sometimes you can't see it. And sometimes everybody's picking you up, and that's the case where you just say to yourself, you know, I am being picked up the way I fantasize in my love life that I would always be picked up by everybody, everywhere, all the time. Isn't that our fantasy? I mean, it's my fantasy. Constantly people picking you up, thinking you're incredibly interesting, incredibly provocative. Now, right now, I'm going to just make a segue here. I'm going to make a segue to some theme song music to bring Annie in with, because we have a lot to get to. Did I mention that John McCain is on the show tonight? John McCain is here live tonight on the show. He will be here. We're going to have him talking about what it's like to be courted right now by the Bush team, which absolutely abhors him, which has a reprehensible experience and relationship to him, but they're courting him nonetheless. It's called playing opposites in acting. And right now, before we get to John McCain, Annie Lennox has asked for this to bring her on in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Annie Lennox. How you doing? Sit down. Yeah. Oh, wow. So, at just about this point here, we've done the adequate amount of kibitzing on the side to make you know that she's a bosom buddy. See, that's the point of this part. I have some of her music playing so that you can get a sense of, hey, it's Annie. In a moment, you're going to get the audience. We're going to pan on the audience. You'll see how crazy they are that she's here. But I'm supposed to establish now how close we are, which is what I'm doing. I'm kibitzing. And you think what? What do you think I'm talking about? You think I'm talking about what we did last night at that dinner that caller had me talk about, right? Or you think maybe I'm talking about, well, how's your boyfriend, okay? Or I'm letting you know about that cold, that nagging cold that I haven't been able to shake, because she's an intimate, and I'd tell her about that, right? Excuse me, I have to get back to that. And a lot of it is, the leaning in. In talk shows, if you see the talk show host talking from here in the segment where the audience can't hear, and they're sort of like, they don't know each other. See, but I know her, and I want you, most importantly, I want you to think that I know her. I live with her. I mean, she's my roommate. She's that close. So anyway, Annie, we've established this rapport. We've established that I'm the one that's most interesting here, because it's one thing to be an interesting and famous movie star, film star, singing star, whatever, diva, as people sometimes call you. But what people find most interesting is the people who talk to these people, which is why we're fascinated with talk shows. Because, you see, I get to talk to all of you. In one night, I'm going to have Michael Douglas, Hillary Clinton. Oh, did I mention that? Oh, let that be my throwaway comment. I'm going to have Hillary Clinton on the show. Did I forget to mention that? I like to throw away like a major person that we're going to have on, just so you can see that it's so kind of like ho-hum, So yeah, Hillary will be on the show. She'll be talking about the latest ridiculous talk rag rumors that she actually was having an affair with Vince Foster. What is so new about that? Annie, what do you think about that? I mean, what is it about females that are strong, females that are powerful, females that have chutzpah, females that are so intelligent and sexy and creative, that all we can do is try to find ways to talk about them being control freaks, bitches, hard to work with. Like, for example, Julia Roberts. She'll be here later, and she's going to talk to us about why it is that people always want to talk about how hard she was to work on in certain projects, or how hard she was to work with Steven Spielberg, for example. And Annie, I have a question for you. You don't really want to answer the first question I asked, do you? I didn't think so. I mean, see, the thing about talk show, the rules of talk show are, my questions are not really meant for Annie to answer. They're meant as a way to set me up to say something, right? But wouldn't it be refreshing if in the middle of one of those things, a talk show host just really came clean and just sort of looked at you and just said, I have something to tell you. And my friend Annie here isn't really my friend at all. And in order to tell you this, I feel that I need to tell that camera for some reason. And so I'm letting them know that that's the camera I need to talk to, because I have a sense that if I tell you, it's going to be a whole lot more honest. because this is where I talk that way when I'm playing the role. But right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never met Annie Lennox. And I wouldn't know what to say to Annie Lennox if I met her, because as the talk show host, I would feel all this pressure to think of a funny thing to say, to think of a clever setup. I would want to, even if she sneezed, I would think I have to turn that into a joke, because there is an enormous pressure when you're on TV, especially when you're on talk TV, to say to yourself two things. First of all, what's going to happen if that airplane that I hear actually ends up coming so close that what I'm talking about now is totally drowned out? That's the first question most talk show hosts obsess about. The second one is that I'm sitting here wondering to myself, what's going to happen if I don't make everything funny? And in the middle of wondering if I might not make everything funny, I'm pulled out of that internal confession that I needed to give you. It's not an outtake, because I really wanted you to hear this directly. Because why? The business of talk radio and talk TV is happening. There's a call. There's always a call. You can't stay in your own little examining your navel thinking about Annie Lennox and the fact that you don't know her, because of course I do. Right, Annie? And Annie has to leave now, but I want to thank Annie. That was a You want to stay for the call? That's generous woman, right? Generous. Is she fantastic or what? This is called putting the focus back on the guest by putting the focus on how great you are to have noticed how great the guest was. I have a call waiting. I'm going to go to that call on line 3. Hello.
Hi, Daena?
Yes, it's actually Daena.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, because I could cut you off right now. I would, as a matter of fact, if I was in the tradition of some of the shock jocks, I would just cut you off because I don't like the sound of your voice.
Oh,
Okay?
I'm sorry.
But you know what? I'm not going to do that, because I've been working in therapy not to do that.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm really sorry.
Did I offend you?
No, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't get your name right. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. People do it all the time. They call me Dina, Donna, Duna, Donna, Daena.
Well, I was just wondering, when are we going to see Annie?
You don't see Annie?
No.
Oh, I see. You have never having met a celebrity syndrome.
Well, no.
Well, see, the thing is that when you haven't really met celebrities, sometimes there's this defense that comes up where you don't really let yourself even recognize that you're seeing them, because you're so terrified and so tongue-tied that you don't really see that they're there.
Oh,
She's
was
here.
she there?
She's here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just didn't see her. Oh.
No, I'm letting her know that I love that you're telling us this, but I'm letting her know because, you know, she sometimes doesn't tune into this part of the show because she's got a lot on her mind. She's putting together her next, is it another CD? Putting another CD together, so she doesn't always listen when the calls come in.
I see.
But
I just kept thinking that I was going to see her, and then I didn't, so...
She's here. Do you see her now? Now that I've pointed that out, do you see her?
Yeah.
You can be honest on this show. I will not shame you.
Well, actually, I don't see her.
Well, I'm really glad you said that, because to tell you the truth, that makes me want to say something that I haven't said so far. I feel very oppressed by something that I think connects. Will you come with me down a little journey here for a second, caller?
Sure.
And by the way, what's your name?
Oh, Susan, I called you before.
You know, I thought so, Susan. You sound very familiar.
Yeah, I'm the one that lives in Powerhouse Square.
Right. But that's okay. People can call as many times as they want on this show. Susan, I'm upset about something. Mm-hmm. We are fixated in this country, in this world, anywhere that American TV reaches, and even anywhere where it doesn't, with celebrity. We know more about the lives of celebrities than we do about our own uncle who lives out in Ohio, or our grandmother who came here from Russia to escape a pogrom. We don't know the details of her early life, let's say, or, you know, we don't even know much about our neighbors. And here we are on these shows, and who do we constantly invite on these shows? Celebrities. Why don't we invite somebody like you, Susan?
Oh, well, I'm not anybody special.
Well, you know, I think the reason that Annie cannot be seen right now, because I want to let you in on the truth, and this is an outtake for just a moment. I have to just excuse me. Okay? I am tired of keeping up this pretense, okay? I am tired of having to sit here and BS the audience, okay? Of course she's not sitting there, okay? She's not there. And you know what? No celebrity is really there when the television comes on and they're there. Do you think the real person is ever there when they're sitting there? Yeah, they're sitting there, but they're not really there. I'm tired of feeding the celebrity machine. It makes me want to just take my fists and put it through what? The camera. But I won't do that because I have enough vanity to know that if I put my fist through that camera, my shot is going to be severely compromised. But I just want to say that I am pissed. And I'd like to knuckle finger all the fixation on celebrity right now. And okay, so K.D. Lang is going to be here tonight, okay? But I don't need K.D. Lang to make me interesting, okay? I mean, I could just go and I could just like chop the legs off that tripod right now. There's a tripod. See, what you at home don't know is there's a tripod under that camera. This camera didn't come as a deus ex machina. You know, it didn't come in out of the sky. It's supported on a tripod, just like K.D. Lang, okay? She is not only K.D. Lang. She's supported with the help of many friends. Maybe people like this caller, people like Susan. What do you think of that?
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Susan, you could be K.D. Lang if you wanted to be.
Oh, well.
You could be her support group if you wanted to be.
Oh, that would be nice.
In fact, do you want to talk to K.D. Lang right now?
Oh, I like K.D. Lang.
Would
yeah.
you like to talk to her?
Sure.
Let's give you some K.D. Lang. Annie has to leave. I want to thank Annie Lennox for being here tonight. Thank you. Susan, stay with us on the line. That was Annie Lennox, folks. I'm glad she could come and join us in this incredibly fascinating discussion we had, Annie and I, about the last time we saw each other on a movie set. It was a fantastic conversation. And right now we have another guest who is very, very interesting, because what I like about KD is that she had the guts to go with initials, you know? Now take me, if I had just gone with DG, it would have been a lot easier, right? But before I get into that, let's welcome K.D. Lang. I'll tell you all about why I love her. Let's bring her in right now. K.D. Lang, folks. Hey! Oh! Oh, yes. That's great. What? Oh. Yeah. Oh. Susan's here, you know. Yeah, Susan, you want to say hi to KD?
Oh, hi. How are you?
Yeah. This is where I get to really let you know that I'm a good person and I would let you in my moment with KD. I'm not going to hog the moment.
Oh, thank you so much.
What do you want to say to KD?
Oh, I really liked your the CD you did on cigarettes.
That's what I'm playing right now. It's called Drag.
Oh, yeah.
And do you like the way KD came completely in drag tonight?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she looks great.
Doesn't she look great?
Yeah, really great.
I mean, one of the things that I think is fascinating about K.D. Lang, and Susan, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to hang up now.
Okay, all right, well, have fun.
Is that all right, Susan?
Oh, no, that's fine.
I wanted to just make sure that you got what you needed in this call before you hang up. Are you okay?
I think I'm fine.
You are?
Yeah.
Susan, how long have you been lying?
What are you talking about?
Being dishonest, not telling the truth,
What are you
taking care of
talking
other
about?
people's needs, making other people feel good, being codependent. Just
Goodbye.
give me a ballpark.
Goodbye.
Okay. Well, see, now that was a hard thing for me to do because I was trying to be a shock jock, and it now I feel plunged into despair because I can't concentrate on K.D. Lang. I can't even concentrate on anything. I don't know whether to put K.D. Lang higher. I don't know whether to just... Sometimes I don't know, things come out of your mouth when you get the power. I mean, this is what happens when you get your own talk show. And most of the time, people don't talk about it. I mean, what talk? What's talk? Talk is cheap. There's talk, pillow talk. There's table talk pies. I mean, I grew up, there were table talk pies, right? What does that have to do with anything? What it has to do with this moment is it's a cheap way for me to avoid that I just insulted a caller. Susan, if you're listening, I didn't mean to insult you. What I was trying to do, Susan, was to cut through the BS that's in talk radio and just ask her if she realizes that she's just trying to take care of me. Have you ever listened to those shows? They're on AM radio, where the caller is trying desperately to make the host feel that he loves the host or she loves the host, right? And they'll agree with everything, even if they're being insulted, eviscerated, ignored, lied to. I was lying. I was lying to Susan. You know KD Lang isn't sitting there. I know that in my deepest outtake. And I'm sitting here lying to this poor woman who has called me twice. I hope she calls again. I mean, sometimes all you need is a second chance and the air that you breathe. You need two things. You need the air that you breathe, which is what KD reminds me of constantly in this wonderful CD. Of course she couldn't be here tonight, but I can't admit that. I can't admit that because if I do, I'm basically telling you that my talk show is populated by me and Susan, and I don't even know Susan. Susan, if you're out there, I want you to know that in asking you that blunt, direct, naked question, I was really asking myself that question. What I was asking by using you and basically doing it on your back is I was asking myself, how many years have you been lying? How many years have you been lying, Daena? How many years? You know? How many years have you had to sit in a chair and bring in this object? I don't even know what you'd call it. It's something that makes sound. And pose here as somebody that has all these talk show guests when they're not even here. Phone call. Who would want to call me when I'm in the middle of it's obviously not KD Lang calling me. But this is where you get to be a professional and you pull yourself together. This is what talk show people do. They do this. When they get in trouble, you rustle the papers and you do this. Okay? And there's a phone call coming and it's on line. They're always on line 3 because, hello? 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 Now you see, this is a moment where, hello? This is where you get tested because in talk show, live radio, sometimes the technology doesn't cooperate and you can feel like a complete idiot. But if you're good, you turn it into something. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I just had to find out what this was all about.
Oh, sure. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Somerville.
You are. And what have you seen so far? Tell me when you tuned in.
It's cracking me up. I've watched it for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and it's pretty interesting.
Well, you know, I'm really happy you called. What's your name?
Roxanne.
Roxanne. First of all, Roxanne, I'm really happy because I was just having a total meltdown. I don't know if you knew that. I was confronting my own history of lying and being dishonest. And I thought I had insulted a caller, so I was going into the fantasy that I'd never get another call again. But to answer your question directly, because sometimes what I don't like about talk show hosts, Roxanne, they don't answer the caller directly. And what I want to say to you is this is a talk show, and I'm Daena Giardella, and we have a whole list of guests. We had Annie Lennox here. KD Lang was out. She's here now, as you can see. And Julia Roberts and Michael Douglas will be on later. And we're also going to have John McCain, and he'll be talking to the unborn baby of Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. We've worked on it and so forth and so on. But what do you think about talk show right now? Talk show radio, talk show TV, whatever it is, Roxanne. I'm curious about your input.
Well, I don't watch it, probably for all the reasons that all the points that you're making about it being pretty just glossy and false, and
Yeah.
and I'm not enamored with the celebrity aspect. So I don't listen to talk radio. I don't watch it. I was just scanning through. I saw this. I thought it was really funny, and I can't tell what's real or what's not real. Like, were you really having a meltdown there?
Well, see, this is one of the things, and I'm really glad you asked me this question, because, there's all kinds of things that happen on television. And lately, the short answer is no. But the long answer is yes, I was having a meltdown. But the short answer is no. And the reason the short answer is no is that I was creating an alternate reality. We have virtual reality now. We have all kinds of reality levels. An alternate reality where you, the audience, could think you were watching a live moment that went even further over the edge live than the live already was, because we're saturated with live. Live is live. So you turn on live. Okay, it's live. But beyond the point at which that person was live on TV a number of years back and actually committed suicide live on TV, I think it was a newscaster, we haven't had much that really grabs our attention. So we in the business, we like to call it the business, we try to create live events that will pull the viewer in. So I was creating a live event to see if I could pull myself in first, because I wasn't so sure that I was feeling that I was really getting the soul, do you know what I mean, of a talk show host. But on the other hand, between you and me, Roxanne, and I don't know if you still have your TV on now, can you see me?
Oh, yeah.
Roxanne, I did feel really bad about what I did in that last call with Suzanne, or was it Susan? Oh, geez. Was it Susan?
I don't remember.
I can't hear you. You're getting softer and softer, and I want to hear you. Is there any way I can turn the volume up? This is going to be a moment of live TV. I'm going to ask the staff here, the crew. Crew, can I turn the volume up here at all?
Yes.
How do I do that?
Little round dial. Just turn that up.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Roxanne?
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you fine.
Okay.
Now, Roxanne,
You're welcome.
I want to thank you. See, this is the thing. TV celebrities never thank their crew, except for sarcastically. And once in a while, we'll bring them on here, But Roxanne, you've really raised a good question, because I was feeling both really like I felt bad about that, and at the same time, if I'm really honest, I was delighted that something had happened that made me on the hot seat, because then I knew that would be good TV.
Yep, getting at it, the real thing.
Now, what is something you'd like to say, since you're clearly, in the most profound sense of the word, and I don't mean this in any way sarcastically, virgin in the sense that you don't watch talk TV, and I think you are a very important person for me to be talking to. You know what I mean? Because you're not jaded, and you're not somebody who's addicted to the medium. In fact, you don't really like all that celebrity stuff, and there's a part of me that doesn't like it too.
Yeah, but do you think anybody who'd be watching this right now would be that kind of person?
Absolutely not. I don't think anybody that's watching right now would like talk shows, which is why I decided to make this a talk show. You know what I mean? I figured, why not? Pretty much, who do you think is going to surf through and get this channel? Let's be honest. I got on Suzanne's case, but let's be honest right now, okay? Who do you think is going to go to this station? Let's be honest.
Oh, gosh. People like me who's procrastinating,
Yeah.
just kind of hanging out.
Like, what are you supposed to be doing right now?
What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah, like what are you procrastinating?
Just something a little more productive, nothing specific, but just,
Oh, I know what you mean, right? There's always this list of things we have to do.
That's right.
And we should be doing it, so instead we want to avoid it, and we'll go and we'll put on the television, right? Mm-hmm. That's great. So there might be people like that. I have a sneaking suspicion that it's people also that are learning how to use the remote control. So I have a lot of my audience is people who are lost on the remote control. Cable Vision just came to their house, or whoever it is, Time Warner, whatever it is, gave them the new remote control. They're still working with their TV thing, and they keep flipping on and off the right dial, Mm-hmm. So I feel like I get a lot of people who have absolutely no interest in being here. And then they tune in. And what do you think? Do you think I have any chance of catching them for a moment?
Well, you did. You caught me, and I think it was the parody aspect of the whole thing, really, in my mind. Sort of the revealing all the little tricks, and you've got it down. You actually should have your own talk show. You definitely should.
Oh, Roxanne, you have made my night, I have to tell you. In fact, I want to give my number out in case any producers are listening, and that's 628-9876. That's 628-9876. Now, I said my, and what I mean is it's the number of this place where I am now. So if you're looking to call me for fun and games, after tonight you can't reach me here, but my crew and the staff, the writing team, the producers here will get the call, and they'll reach me, they'll find me. Roxanne, can I ask you something?
What?
Do you like TV?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Can I just ask you what your favorite program is? Just, what's your favorite thing to watch or kind of TV to watch?
Oh, gosh. There isn't anything that I watch regularly.
But you like TV.
There's nothing like I say, I got to be home at this hour to stay to watch.
You like TV, though?
Sure. I like the idea of it, and I like the entertainment value of it.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I want to do right now? With your permission, and I really appreciate your call. You've been fantastic to talk to. How has it been for you to be live on TV?
Weird.
Well, it's been very, very great for me, I just have to tell you. And what I want to do as we sign off, because we're going to sign off with your call in a second, I'm going to say goodbye to you, okay?
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up on Roxanne's last comment, that she likes the idea, the ideas that can come on TV, the idea of it, what can happen on TV. Excuse me? Now look at that. Now, I mean, that is TV, okay? Now who is that man? That man is on TV, and we're all looking at that man, and I'm thinking to myself, that's the idea of TV, right there. And why not make that part of the talk show? If a person can be on live TV and have this man on there, what else is there to do for the talk show host? I'll tell you who this man is. I know exactly who this is. This is Michael Douglas's second cousin. This is the man that Michael Douglas called when he found out that Catherine was pregnant. And Michael, come on in. KD, can you move over? Thanks. Michael, come in. KD, it's okay. Michael, hi. We've got him on. Thank you very much. Are we finished? Are we finished? Would you say we're finished? I think we're finished. And you know why I think we're finished? I don't mean with the show. I mean, are we finished with getting the event of the century? We got it. We got first of all, we got Roxanne telling us she likes the idea of TV. We got Michael Douglas's second cousin, and we got Michael Douglas, and we got me in the middle of a meltdown. I mean, what else is there to have on a live show except for me inside of me inside of me? I mean, there's another call. See, the thing is, this show actually is just getting going, and we could not possibly be finished because there's so much to say. Hello.
Hello.
You're on Talk TV. I'm Daena Giardella.
Yes, Daena, this is Susan.
Susan, I really am glad you called back. I'm in a bind right now, though.
What is that?
Because one half of me wants to get furious at you for mispronouncing my name again. The other half of me wants to beg for your forgiveness because it isn't Yom Kippur, but there's like a feeling of atonement that's coming over me.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry I insulted you.
Well, I mean, I was watching, and it sounded like you wanted me to call you, and I'm just going to say, I mean, do you have a name of a good therapist?
You know, I have the name of a good therapist, but I don't know if I want to give it to you because obviously you don't want to pronounce my name right.
Well, it's not my fault.
Well, all right, I'll give you this name, okay? If you can admit that in mispronouncing my name, you're probably acting out hidden hostilities toward this show.
How do you mean?
Well, because how many times do I have to tell you my name?
What are you talking
I mean,
about? You have this weird name. How can anybody remember your name?
All right, point well taken. You're right. Okay, the therapist's name, you can call the station and they will give you the name of my personal therapist. How's that?
All right, that's fine.
All right,
okay.
call back and get that name.
Okay, I just called because it seemed like you wanted me to call.
Susan,
you wanted to say you were sorry.
oh, Susan, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Susan, I just had another moment.
What's that?
I'm so sorry. I forgot that I was going to be real with you if you called back.
Okay, all right, well,
Susan, I'm sorry.
I mean, I felt really embarrassed that last time, but, you know, it's all right. I'll just let it go by.
Susan, I really love you, and I love your honesty, and I
All
love
right.
who you are.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks
And-
for calling back.
Okay, I'm sorry I lied to you before.
I'm sorry I lied to you.
Okay, I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry I insulted you.
Oh, well, I'm really sorry that I made, you know, like, I mispronounced your name.
I'm sorry Roxanne isn't here right now because I think she could mediate this in some way.
Oh, well, you know, I'm really sorry.
I wish Roxanne was here.
All right, well, bye.
Goodbye. Because Roxanne would ask me if I'm really having a meltdown because how many talk show hosts have people call up because they care? They care. Roxanne wanted to know if I was melting. Are we off? Who is that? Are they preempting my show? Oh my God. Now they're telling me they're converting me. They want to convert me. I can't pray. I can't pray now. This is it. Whenever people get too emotional, people want to put people in church. Or they want to bring them to the synagogue. You know, learn 7 prayers. I'm not going to pray. I don't want to intone any verses. This is the thing. A talk show host needs to melt down without having Jerry Falwell. Speaking of Pat Robertson, how the hell did he get that show? How did he get that show? What, if I sit there and read from the Bible and I condemn anybody with any forward thinking, maybe I can have my own show? Well, fine. Okay, I'll do that. But look at that. They're preempting my show. Roxanne, this is not fake. This is real. Roxanne, where are you? Are you here? Roxanne, I'm so glad you came back. I got to tell you something. Did you see what just happened? Susan called, and I blew it again. Oh, it's not easy having a talk show, I want to tell you that.